Learning Delivery Modalities Course 2 LDM2 for Teachers Course Overview. When the first COVID-19 case was recorded in March this year, the country was placed under a state of national emergency. COVID-19 ushered in a new normal in the way people conduct business and deal with each other. To prevent the further spread of infection among the populace, various measures were put in place such as a ban on mass gatherings, restrictions of movement, social distancing, and preventive practices like hand washing, wearing of masks, among others. In the face of this continuing health threat, the Department of Education (DepEd) formulated the Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan or LCP to put into motion the marching orders of the Secretary, ensure that learning continues while guaranteeing the health, safety, and well-being of all learners, teachers, and other DepEd employees. The LCP recognizes that DepEd must adopt alternative modes for delivering learning if it is to reach all learners, regardless of who and where they are. Where school-based face-to-face learning is not possible, the LCP identifies three learning delivery modalities, or LDMs, that schools may implement, like distance learning, blended learning, and homeschooling. A critical component of the LCP is enabling teachers and school leaders to use these learning delivery modalities effectively. Look at Figure 1. LCP capacity building has two streams. The first stream, LDM1, is focused on the implementation and management of the alternative learning delivery system and all levels of the education system, and intended for school and division leaders. This course you are taking now, which is LDM2, is intended for teachers and is focused on the instructional implications of using these alternatives on LDMS, or the Learning Delivery Modalities. Course Objectives. By the end of this course, you will be able to, number 1, know the different LDMS and platforms, their features, uses, and pedagogies. 2. Plan for the implementation of the school-based adapted LDMS. 3. Prepare learning materials and resources needed for the LDM. And 4. Be confident in executing lessons in the new LDM. As your LAC leader, let me share to you the course design, content, and delivery. This is a task-oriented course that combines guided study using self-learning modules and co-learning and collaboration through the Learning Action Cell or LAC. Since face-to-face meetings are not permitted at present, we are expected to hold our LAC sessions online. How to organize our LAC and run our LAC session will be discussed in Lesson 2. And this is what we are doing now, right? As you can see in Table 1, the course is divided into two parts. Part 1 covers LDM selection and implementation planning. It consists of 4 modules that will take about 20 hours to complete. Part 2 is the practicum component of the course covering LDM implementation throughout the school year. The modules in Part 1 are designed for self-study. That is why I am sharing you all its content for you to read in advance, without a trainer or instructor to assist you. Each module consists of several lessons. Lessons are self-contained and include readings or video tutorials, activities, quizzes, and reflection points. We ask that you keep a study notebook or learning journal to jot down your answers to the activity questions and quizzes, and to record your ideas and reflection. Now, use a paper notebook or create a file on your computer or smartphones. For details, let me read about what is this study notebook brief. Your study notebook. You are asked to keep a study notebook or learning journal for this course. You may have kept one before, or the idea may be new to you. Essentially, this is a notebook in which you note such things such as your response to the activities in the course, Ideas that may come to you when you are either studying by yourself or in the lab, or when you are working, or at any other time. Draft of contributions to course discussions, notes about articles that you read that are related to but not embedded in the course. This could be from professional journals, government policy documents, or media stories, for example. And reflections on your own learning trajectory through the course. Note that these are examples and do not constitute an inclusive list. The last item here, reflection on your own learning, is one of the most important. It is helpful to identify how your own personal theories, ideas, and beliefs change or are reinforced by your study. Sometimes, this learning will be very clear to you. At other times, your learning will only become apparent over a much longer time span. For example, when you introduce some ideas in your place of work or draw on some of your practice in your learning. Your study notebook is personal to you, and it should be useful to you, even if you might be able to share parts of it with a friend or colleague. There is no particular formula for keeping a study notebook. Some days you may write a great deal, whereas at other times only a little. However, you are advised to write notes in such a way that they are intelligible when you return to them months later. Throughout the course, there are regular prompts for you to note down a response in your study notebook. You can keep the notebook in a format that appeals to you and is easy for you to maintain. It could be an ordinary paper, notebook, or on a desktop or mobile device. As we familiarize and internalize the content of this LDM2 for teachers, what are the expected outputs? As 21st century teacher, you are expected to generate outputs at various points in the course. This will constitute your course portfolio. In Part 1, LDM Selection and Implementation Planning, number 1, Sample of MELCs or Most Essential Learning Competencies Unpacking Presentation. 2. List of Targeted Learner Interventions. 3. Learning Tasks for Distance Learning. 4. Assessment Methods in Distance Learning. 5. Weekly Home Learning Plan for one subject. 6. Individual Learning Monitoring Plan for a student who lags behind in completing the learning task. 7. Log 3 Teacher Engagement Report. 8. Log 3 Session Report. Number 9. 2 Accomplished LR or Learning Portal Rapid Assessment Tools with Reflections. And 10. Professional Development Plan. In Part 2, Learning Delivery Modality or LDM Implementation Portfolio, number 1, Daily Lesson Plans or Daily Lesson Logs, and 2, Recordings of Class Instruction. Now, for course assessment and certification, learners will receive their certificate of participation once they are able to submit their LDM implementation portfolios to their designated coaches. The portfolio will be evaluated by the coach who will recommend the issuance of the certificate to the NIAP Central Office through the NIAP Regional Office. Where feasible, the certificate will also indicate the professional development credit units earned in accordance with DepEd Quality Assurance Division evaluation of the program. As this course is intended to advance your professional development, read Table 2, showing the Philippine Professional Standard for Teachers or PPST, where the identified domains may help you advance in your practice.